Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So before reading the patch note, I'm gonna just say something about the channel. As you can see, I started the new campaign, and when I can, between each chapter of the campaign, I put an episode of a normal gameplay. Unfortunately, I don't have much time to play the game in this day. So I probably just gonna record the campaign when I can, and if some video pops up that it's a nice match, if I have the time to record it, I will share it. Otherwise, it's probably just gonna be the campaign for the rest of the week. Now, that said, the Emperor's Children got some buff, some deserved one, because some of the cards were pretty bad. Also, they basically were untouched since the start of the game, maybe even the beta. So they finally did what some people ask them to do, because it's really bad seeing some card just be left for that. It's horrible. In fact, back in the day, they did a couple of episodes of I don't remember how did I call it. How did I call those videos? I think let's discuss something like that. I went over both the Alpha Legion and Night Lords, checking all the cards and seeing, especially the ones that are pretty much dead, and see how can you buff them. And I stopped doing that because I saw that the developer started doing some tweaking to all the cards, so I didn't feel the need to continue in that series. Anyway, the first card is the Whisper of Chaos. So now it costs 16 instead of 18. And I can see why 18 is a lot, especially on something that you can't really be reliable on triggering. Because if you are triggering a lot of perfection, you're probably already winning the game. If you're not literally winning it before making this card even playable. And also the fact that perfection can't always be triggered every turn, so it's really unreliable. Next is the Chaplain, which was pretty much a dead card, nobody played it. Now the effect is also a rally instead only being a backlash. And being a rally, it's just what should always be in, because a backlash like that, of course your opponent it's gonna play around it. Now at least this card is not just a 5/5. Oh boy, the Enhanced Warrior. So this card might be one you didn't ever seen, because it was terrible. Like it was a 2/3 that gain +1/+1 in your hand every time a troop died. So basically it was a dead draw most of the time. Like an effect like that, it's too much inconsistent unless this card was reliable to draw, which it wasn't. So now it's a 5/5 with a resolution of gaining +1/+1, which makes it the first turn just a 6/6. It's not that special, but if with the perfection you get an enhancer, which it's good all the time. Like getting one can be plot tears, it can be poisonous. There are a lot of good ones. So now they are worthy to be called a card and not just waste of space. And the Hammer of Justice, it wasn't terrible before, but it was one of these cards that been the same since the beginning of the game. And it was basically a neutral level, like instead of being it could have been what's it called, Imperial Army tank, and just that. Instead, if it's gonna be a Space Marine tank, it needs to be way better. So now it has Frontline, which is always good in cards that are this big. And with the perfection you get to destroy a random enemy troop with 4 or less attack, which you're probably gonna hit even if it's that late in the game. Even without that, it's it's worth playing. Before it was worse honestly than playing something of the neutral faction. What is? I think it's the one. Yep. Diversionary Tactics now with Perfection, draw a card. This card wasn't bad, you can see it sometime playing because stunning a troop it's a pretty strong effect and you get a 4-bar. Of course, cycle on a card like this, it's really nice, so having that even if it is Perfection, maybe it's even better if you don't wanna draw a card, you can play more around it because stunning a troop is a thing that you can do pretty much at any point of of your turn. Concentrated fire. Okay. Now also has Perfection to heal 2. Sure, I guess it's fine. It's not a card that I usually see much. Maybe sometime played in the Lucius deck, but the heal 2, it's a nice addiction. Now this is a pretty good change. All at all cost, instead of being the base effect to refill the energy, it's the perfection one, and you normally only draw the cards, which for energy it's actually not good, so you really wanna trigger the perfection. But the good thing is the old one would only trigger the perfection of drawing card if your hand was empty, which guess what, with a warlord that has Whisper of Chaos, that's bad. So now it's probably better, honestly. At least you get the value to draw in the card. It's just before was most likely wasted text on the card. I think I know which one this is. Yep. Aaron, the battleship was awful, awful, awful. Like the Nance Warrior, a card that wasn't changed since the game was started, and it was World Wish. What it was? Ah, yes, it was 3 energy, and you return a troop to your hand, and perfection it costs 2 less, which is it's terrible. You probably never saw this card played unless it's really low in the ranks, because people pay whatever they put their hand on. Now it is for 2 energy, you choose an Astartes from your deck and draw it, and for it perfection you give it power drop, which ironically you would have made the Dance Warrior, the old version, a little bit more reliable because you could have drawn them, but whatever, it's better this way. Big condition now for with a perfection also gives a Mark of Chaos, and I can see why this card it was really unreliable, because it's your opponent that decides how many tropes on the board, and as you know there are a lot of warlord that go solo, so at least now you get a +1/+1 and a Mark of Chaos for 3, which is not terrible. And the last one is Ruined Palace. This is probably a buff that you could anyone could have said just reduce the cost for one, because at 4 energy was too much. Really, it's just the value wasn't really worth it unless you have a full board. But at this point there are better cards to play. Now it's quite better. Next, the Song of Horus also got a couple changes. The legendary second wave, instead of giving 2 copy of your troops, now you draw 2 starters that cost 2 less, and you also put them in play. So it's a big swing on tempo, like get if you hit both a starter that cost 3 energy, you basically play a 6 drop on turn 6, kinda. So it's a lot of tempo. It's a good for a deck that play a swarm type of style, even if probably because of that they nerfed the frontal assault. It's technically a balance because for 2 more energy you get to buff the ward or attack also for 3, so you get a little bit more value of this card. But 7 energy is a lot. Like you really played this card for 5 energy. It really made more sense. I don't know, unless you play the war room, this card might be dead. Instead, like the Ruined Palace, another buff that was really needed. Treachery costing 1 less energy, because it might seem that it's good for 3 energy to give a Mark of Chaos to all your starters. The only thing is that one of the Sons of Horus are really cheap or really big usually. They either, even the mid one, they don't have a lot of health, so they either tend to not stick around a lot or be just one big guy. So you really didn't get more value out of 3 energy than Mark of Chaos over, how is it called, the other one? Temptation. Temptation was way better. Now at least it's another option other than that card. And in the end, Ultramarines got tweaked a little bit, even if they got some changes back then. The command squad, which one is gonna be now? I know Rogues got a nerf now. It only lowers the cost of the troop that you draw by 1 instead of 2, which I guess it's a fine balance. This card was really popular. And this guy. Yeah, I don't know. Was a 4/4 pretty good. The effect is still why you play this card. Having a 3/4 left on the board, it's not the best, but I guess it was too strong. I don't know if there was too much combo potential or something, but I doubt. And the Apothecary, of course, lost right away the 1 more point of health that he had. I didn't really have too much problem in killing him. Of course, like this it's more easy for a lot of cards, but I guess yes, of course you wanna kill him right away because he heals himself. And another nerf for Marcellus is rally damage got shrink down to 2 instead of 3. I would like more the other way around. You reduce the courage one, but okay. And that's it for all the balance changes. I'm gonna see you in the next video. Out.